You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, we learn a little history about the town of Weir, Kansas, including how the fly swatter was invented.
Also, 8 companies, including BP, face 2 class action lawsuits in Kansas.
And we're looking at some mighty cool temperatures this morning, but what about the rain chances for the weekend? Well, I'll have the answer in your forecast.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
And I'm meteorologist Sam Lane. 7 o'clock finally on this Friday morning.
Yes,
I know a lot of folks are looking forward to the weekend.
Absolutely, and it's supposed to be a beautiful one, so I'm excited.
For the most part. Saturday might have to dodge a few scattered showers, but it shouldn't be putting a damper on too many things. Especially Sunday looks great, though.
Oh, that's great, because this weekend, one Southeast Kansas community is gearing up for its 88th annual homecoming. It's sponsored by the Weir Civic Club, and this year's theme is When Coal Was King.
That's right. On Saturday, there's going to be a new exhibit focusing on the past, and KOAM's Tanya Bach sat down with the local historian who is bringing all of that together.
This is one here out of one of the papers.
David Wallace is a local historian fascinated with the town his family grew its roots in. He runs a Facebook group dedicated to Weir City history and creates videos dedicated to preserving local stories.
Weir was populated. It was a big place. It had a lot of things going on. There are lots of people all over the country who came through Weir.
There's a lot of history, a lot of coal history for this town.
Like many towns in southeast Kansas, mining brought jobs and people.
During the early 1900s, the population here in Weir, Kansas peaked around 3,000 people. Today, it's a little over 500. But during that time, a lot of cool things happened, including the invention of the fly swatter.
In 1906, the Weir school principal and local scoutmaster Frank Rose joined a statewide health initiative to combat flies and the diseases they carried.
Frank Rose took his Boy Scout troop and they were putting screens on windows around town. You know, the health department, he knew that they were looking for some way to eradicate the flies. He came up with this idea to take some of the leftover screen they had and small pieces of screen and nailing it to a yardstick.
Rose took his fly bats to the Capitol, where the Kansas Secretary of Public Health, Samuel Crumbine, renamed them.
We'll call it a fly swatter.
From the birth of the fly swatter to the infamous Cora Hubbard, Weir's very own female outlaw. And when the local unions went on strike, coal companies handed out leaflets, which brought in black families from Alabama.
They were here because they were offered jobs as miners. When they got here and found out that they were breaking the strike, black miners joined the unions at the same rate as whites, about 60%.
When the coal left, you know, the town kind of started downhill. And we've seen that over the years. It was gradual.
A gradual decline in population, but not in history. Wallace plans to continue documenting those stories as long as he can.
The 2023 Weir Homecoming kicks off Friday with a free chili and bean feed and the coronation of the Weir Homecoming royalty. David Wallace's Weir City History tent will be set up Saturday morning, both before and after the parade, at the restored Texaco on Main Street.
And of course, you can find a complete schedule on our website at koamnewsnow.com. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty nice weekend for the homecoming there in Weir. Might have to dodge a few scattered showers on Saturday, but it's not going to be a big washout. That's the good news. We do need the rainfall, though, as we are still in a drought across the area. Let's take a look at temperatures right now across the region. We're looking at mid-50s for the most part. Some lower 50s up to the north, like in, let's say Nevada, 50, and 50 also in Stockton. And we're also looking at 55 degrees over in Neosho, mid-50s for the metro area. And then we start getting into the lower 60s out towards the west in Howard with 62. Radar right now is pretty much clear across most of the area. There are a few scattered sprinkles, especially out towards the west. A lot of this is not even reaching the ground because the air is so dry. You have to go all the way out to western Kansas and northwestern Oklahoma before you start to see actual rainfall reaching the surface, and also some storms down in the Texas Panhandle producing some flash flooding there. Allergies today, they're going to be in the moderate category, 8.5, most of that being ragweed, chenopod, and nettle. Tomorrow, a little bit better because we are expecting those scattered showers, so we'll drop it down to about 7.7, so a little bit of relief in the way as far as allergies go. This afternoon, we're looking at partly cloudy skies with highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s, lunchtime temperature of 77, and then we'll be dropping back into the upper 70s as we head through the afternoon. If you're heading out to the lakes this weekend, they're not too bad, although Elk City right now is about 5 feet below where it should be. Grand Lake is a lot better at about a foot below normal. Table Rock Lake is also a little bit below normal, almost 2 feet below there. But Stockton Lake is really below normal, about 5, almost 6 feet below normal. So if you're heading out to Stockton, just be aware of that. Looking down the lane, partly cloudy, fantastic Friday today. Saturday showers, and then the sun comes back on Sunday, and then more unsettled weather as we head towards the middle part of next week. And I'll detail all that for you in the forecast in just a little bit. Caitlin?
A Jasper County man is behind bars on multiple charges, including assault. Jasper County authorities have charged this man, Joshua Buzzard of Carthage, with assault, kidnapping, and resisting arrest. The incident happened Wednesday afternoon. Jasper County Sheriff's Office responded to a report of a woman who had been assaulted and held against her will. When deputies approached the residence, Buzzard fled the scene in a vehicle. He gave up after a several-mile chase, and he was then arrested and taken to the Jasper County Detention Center. Authorities in Cherokee County, Kansas have released the name of the man who drowned in a strip pit. Authorities say that man is 84-year-old Richard Girton. They say around 2 yesterday afternoon, Girton was fishing with a family member when he slipped on the embankment and went into the water, but never resurfaced. Emergency personnel from the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, Columbus and West Mineral Fire Departments, and Cherokee County Ambulance Service responded to recover his body. 2 class action lawsuits filed in Kansas allege BP and other natural gas suppliers price gouged customers during the historic cold snap in 2021. The suits, which name a combined 8 companies in the natural gas supply chain, allege defendants violated the Gas Consumer Protection Act and illegally profited off of the disaster. During the cold snap, Kansas energy regulators directed natural gas utilities to do whatever was needed to ensure continuous gas service, but the customers who filed the suits say the prices charged were unnecessarily and illegally high. A major state university-run hospital system in Arkansas is aggressively going after patients to collect unpaid medical bills. Thousands of people have been sued, including the hospital's own employees. Public court records show that starting in 2019, UAMS, the state's public university hospital system, has sued more than 8,000 patients to collect unpaid medical bills. UAMS has now established a task force to recommend changes to its billing and collection policies. And gas prices are climbing across the nation, up a nickel and a gallon in the past week, primarily because of a surge in oil costs. But prices in our area beat the national average of $3.86 per gallon. According to AAA, the average for a gallon of regular in Oklahoma is $3.80. In Kansas, it's $3.73. In Missouri, it's $3.69, and the lowest price for the region is in Arkansas, where the average is now $3.49 per gallon. Up next, we learn why dog owners are hesitant to vaccinate their beloved furry friends. And later, we learn the story of the first NFL game between the Triangles and Columbus Panhandles 100 years ago. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back, but first, here's a look at the Cornell Complex in Joplin. In Health Watch this morning, getting your house clean could scrub away your good health thanks to bad chemicals, according to a new study. Researchers from the Environmental Working Group examined 30 household cleaning products that include conventional and green products. Both with and without fragrances, researchers say they found 530 volatile organic compounds, also known as VOCs, in all products. 193 of them were considered hazardous. Researchers say the volatile chemicals can linger in the air for months and could cause asthma and increased cancer risk. Researchers add green cleaning products without fragrance release fewer VOCs than all the products. And growing concerns surrounding the health of dogs, with a new report showing a majority of owners have some reservations about getting their pets vaccinated. Ted Linder takes a closer look at why some veterinarians say this hesitancy is barking up the wrong tree.
A majority of owners don't think they're in the doghouse if their canines are unvaccinated. A recent study published in the journal Vaccine says 53% of dog owners are in some way hesitant when it comes to routine shots for their pets, with some citing canine vaccines as either unsafe, not effective, or unnecessary.
I was surprised it was that high now, but it makes sense to me based on what I'm kind of seeing coming through here.
Even though veterinarians say shots come in small needles and are not painful, some dog lovers still have their doubts.
If you have to actually administer the vaccine, then it's kind of like, I don't want to hurt my dog.
Most states require rabies shots for dogs, but some vets recommend additional vaccines to protect against canine hepatitis and distemper.
Our job is always to do the risk benefits and talk to them about vaccines and kind of see what's appropriate for their pet.
Despite the public hesitancy, some pet owners argue shots are an important part in maintaining their pet's health.
Dogs are just a lot dirtier than we are, and they can pick up a lot of different things. And if they're spreading those things around, it's not good.
Meanwhile, health experts say vaccinating pets from diseases can also protect humans.
For all of us who may come into contact with unvaccinated pets, we are potentially at risk of getting sick if there are more unvaccinated dogs out there.
Ted Linder, Fox News.
That's a look at some of today's top health stories. Now, here's meteorologist Sam Lane with a look at your forecast.
All right, thank you very much, Caitlin. We are looking at partly cloudy skies today with temperatures in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Lunchtime temperature of 77 degrees under partly cloudy skies. And we're still dealing with the drought. The tracker came out yesterday and it's expanding again in southeastern Kansas and also expanding in parts of southwestern Missouri. Only 3 counties that are not under drought right now are Delaware County, McDonald County, and Benton County in our area. We definitely need some rainfall, especially if you look at some of the lakes, as they are way below normal, 5 feet below normal at Elk City Lake. Also, Grand Lake is also about a foot behind, and Table Rock Lake is also below normal, about 2 feet, and Stockton is about 5 feet below where it should be. Coming up in England, we're going to learn some kids are learning to become vampires. We'll have that when we come back. But first, here's a look at the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. And we're looking at a beautiful morning shaping up across the 4 states this morning, including Seneca, Missouri, with Indigo Sky Casino Resort. You can see the altocumulus clouds in the distance, and those are going to be with us through the morning hours. Right now in Joplin, we're sitting at 59 degrees with a calm wind, so a little bit on the cool side, and the visibility is about 10 miles. Radar is all clear for the most part in our area, just a few sprinkles in south central Kansas, which it does turn into some rainfall in northwestern Oklahoma, extending down into the Texas Panhandle. That shower activity is going to be moving towards us, but most of the day is going to be pretty fair. Right now we're looking at readings in the lower 50s up to the north, with Stockton and Nevada down to 50 degrees. Definitely need a jacket up there. Then you start getting into the mid 50s and then even a few 60s out towards the west near Howard right now. Dew points, they're still low, generally in the 40s, and all that dry air is going to be with us through the day. But as we go through time, especially tomorrow, we're going to see those dew points increasing across our region as these showers and sprinkles move across our area on Saturday. As we go into the afternoon and evening hours, though, the dry air will start to move back in, and by Sunday and Monday, we'll see dew points back into the 40s, and that's going to allow temperatures to drop back down into the 50s. Rain chances today are going to be pretty close to 0, but then as we go into tomorrow, that's when the rain chances really start to increase, especially late morning into the early afternoon hours. Here's the storm system that's going to be impacting us over the weekend, especially on Saturday. It will start to move in our direction as we go into overnight, and by tomorrow morning we'll see it moving through the region, and then that will move away from us as we go into Saturday night, and by Sunday and Monday, the ridge of high pressure will be building back in, and that will clear us out as well as dry us off just a little bit. Rain chances are going to be low, but where it does rain, we're expecting around 1/10 of an inch of rainfall for most places. Higher amounts to the north, where they could pick up around 1/4 of an inch up there, and then lighter amounts down to the south, where it'll be just enough to settle the dust across the region. And taking a look at the forecast today, increasing clouds, maybe a few scattered showers way out to the west, with highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s. Then as we go into the afternoon and evening, we're going to see the showers increasing overnight with lows in the 60s tomorrow morning. And then mid-morning to early afternoon, that's when the best chance of showers will be across our area with highs in the 70s. And then as we go into Sunday morning, lows will be dropping back down into the 50s across the area. And then Sunday afternoon looks great. Temperatures in the upper 70s to low 80s with northwesterly winds and lots of sunshine. How about the next 7 days? Well, dry on Sunday and Monday. Showers come back in on Tuesday, especially Tuesday night. Better chance of showers and storms on Wednesday, and then more scattered storms on Thursday. And then as we head into Friday and Saturday, rain chances decrease just a little bit, but temperatures are going to be still mild with highs in the upper 70s and lower 80s and lows in the 50s. We'll be back in just a little bit, but the NFL season is underway with all 32 teams scheduled to play in Week 2. It's a long way from when the league began with one game, and Matt Napolitano has more.
A forthcoming documentary tells what could be called the NFL's origin story. The film, Triangle Park, is based on the league's first ever game, played more than 100 years ago on October 3rd, 1920. The documentary is named after the park in Dayton, Ohio, where the Dayton Triangles and the Columbus Panhandles played that first game. Triangle Park includes reenactments of both the game and what were, at the time, societal changes happening in the country and the world. In addition to the reenactments, a number of football greats appear in the documentary to share their perspectives.
This is kind of a generational story. And if we don't want somebody to fall asleep and do a period piece on just every little guy and a deep dive on him, the important part for me is to bring in generational players.
The generational players who contribute to Triangle Park include Troy Aikman, Eric Dickerson, and Joe Theismann.
Great pyramids weren't built on their point. We didn't all of a sudden get here. There's a foundation that had to be laid. And for us in football, it started with the Dayton Triangles.
And Triangle Park will be in theaters beginning October the 25th and run through the month of November. It will also be released worldwide on Amazon Prime on Thanksgiving Day. How appropriate. Coming up, the United Way of Carthage kicks off its annual campaign at Roscoe's Bar and Grill.
Fall is all around us, from leaves starting to change color to pumpkin spice everything. And with just over 6 weeks to go before Halloween, some kids in Europe are getting into the spirit with some spooky lessons in becoming a vampire.
That's right, reporter Ian Lee has the story from London.
These kids are in the midst of becoming vampire apprentices, but they're not out for blood, just some first-hand knowledge. At Forstünstein Castle in Austria, children learn fact from fiction about the original vampire, Vlad Tepes. You may know him as Dracula. This 10-year-old explains he was a count from Romania and he killed his enemies, but he wasn't a vampire because he didn't have fangs. The event, called Draculade, has kids cloaked in capes and armed with flashlights as they explore the creepy castle, all while Vlad looks down from this 17th century painting. Visitor Andrea Stupitz says, "I want to educate my children so that they experience history in a lively way, and I think it's great to learn the story of Dracula in such a mystical castle." The man behind the myth lived in this castle in Romania in the 15th century and had a reputation as a cruel ruler. To punish the invading Ottomans, he impaled captured soldiers and left them on the side of the road to his capital, says this historian. With that kind of fame, it's probably best kids scurry after the fictional character instead. Ian Lee, CBS News.
Dracula was catapulted into the mainstream by the famous novel by Bram Stoker, published in 1897.
Well, the vampires better get to bed soon because the sun's coming up now.
That's right. That is right.
That's right. So they definitely need to be in bed here right about now. We are going to have a great weekend with some scattered showers tomorrow, but we're going to be looking at some nice conditions on Sunday, though.
All right. And coming up, we take you to a clinic in Wyandotte, Oklahoma that's celebrating 25 years of helping people in the community.
Here's a look outside at our KOAM. Looking to the south and east, you can just see a few mid-level clouds out there. The big question is, what does the weekend look like? Well, I'll have the answer to that in your forecast when we come back as the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 continues.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
It's invaluable just because the people that they serve would otherwise be unserved. You know, you don't have health insurance. You're not going to get the medical care or the treatment that you need. And by having that ability, you're going to be cared for in a better way.
The campaign will continue on into today. The Wyandottes and Wellness Center is celebrating 25 years. It started as a small facility, but through renovations and relocation, the center serves the tribal and non-tribal communities alike.
You know, we're a little bit different. As a tribal healthcare center, we also see non-tribal patients as well. And so we serve not only the tribal community in this area, but we also serve the local community as well.
Hear my mic?
And the celebration will continue throughout the week. All right, let's take a look at the current temperatures right now. We're looking at cool readings, especially up towards the north, with readings in the 50s, 50 in Nevada and in Stockton for some of the coolest. Then we start seeing the mid 50s in the metro area, and then 61 degrees right now for our friends in Howard. Radar is pretty much all clear except for a few sprinkles way out to the west. A lot of this is not even reaching the ground. You have to go all the way out into southwestern Kansas and northwest Oklahoma, down into the Texas Panhandle before you start to see more areas of rain and precipitation. That system, though, is headed towards us and will be arriving here in the morning hours. Let's take a look at the allergies. Today it's going to be in the moderate category, 8.5, with most of that being ragweed, chenopod, and nettle. Tomorrow we'll see a little bit of improvement around 7.7, which is still moderate, but that's mainly because of the showers that we're expecting in our forecast. But today, no showers really expected. Partly cloudy skies with highs in the upper 70s and lower 80s, around 81 for your high, so we'll call it mild, 77 for your lunchtime temperature, and then dropping down into the 70s as we go through the evening. We are still in a drought situation, especially in Chautauqua and Elk counties, and also very dry in Vernon County, Cedar County, St. Clair County, and Butler County. Mainly everywhere in our region is under some form of dryness, with the exception of Delaware, McDonald, and Benton counties, so we definitely need some rainfall. Looking down the lane, we do have some rain showers in the forecast for tomorrow, and then Sunday we're going to see the sunshine come back, but more unsettled weather next week with multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorm chances. And of course, I'll spell all that out in detail in the forecast coming up in just a little bit. Now let's go back over to more news with Caitlin. Caitlin?
Crowder College is hosting a free history symposium series funded by the Missouri Humanities Council. Dr. Elliott West started the series with a presentation about the American West before Lewis and Clark. The History Symposium will feature different historians discussing an aspect of American folk history.
The Missouri Humanities Council provided us with a grant that's going to fund actually 5 events. So in addition to Dr. West's talk today, there will be 3 more lectures and a musical event in April where we'll be able to welcome a group who will perform historically significant music from American folk and bluegrass.
The next event will be October 5th. The Boys and Girls Club in Joplin invited kids and their family out to an after-school bash yesterday evening. All who attended were provided a meal, free merch, and a chance to win some awesome prizes, all with full support from partners and organizations in the community.
It's fantastic that they all come out here because we're doing everything from flu shots to giving books away where kids can read. Having partners is amazing. Like, we could not do it without them.
You can find out more information about the Boys and Girls Club on their website. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Shannon Becker joins us in studio to close out this week's Big 3 stories.
And taking a look at outside right now, you can see a few clouds out there, but also lots of sunshine. What does the weekend look like? Well, I'll have the answer when we come back. But first, let's take a look at the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin.
Welcome back. We've got Shannon here just relaxing and
I didn't even know that we were going on. Why doesn't anybody tell me these things?
Yeah, that's how we do it.
All of a sudden, boop,
keep you on your toes, Shannon. Well, what have you...
These chairs are so comfortable. Thank you, Pier 1. Oh my Lord, they're not comfortable. Anyway, how about the big 3 stories of the week this week? Number 3, live and local, what's happening where you live. I'm always already out in the field. Isn't that funny? Helicopter from GRDA assisted the Oklahoma Highway Patrol as a manhunt along Spring River and 652 Road. One person in a pickup truck was detained and then arrested on warrants. It was a 34-foot camper trailer and a pickup truck coming from Newton County into Oklahoma. One man still was not located after they searched for about an hour and a half with the helicopter. No one was injured also in that manhunt. Our number 2 story, Joplin News First. When you're out and about, you can see us sometimes. How about this? Late Sunday night, it was about 10 o'clock. SRT, the special response team in the Newton County Sheriff's Office, served a search warrant locating drugs and weapons at a property on Kentucky Road and Missouri 43. It's a 34-acre property. It covers a lot of area there. There's a former business that's also on the property, and those buildings and everything there involved. The person that was arrested now is facing charges on guns and weapons. Our number 1 story, it has a happy ending, but it was really scary at first. The Joplin homecoming game last Friday night at Jung Stadium. Referee about the middle of the field suddenly collapsed, fell to the ground. People jumped out of the stands. They were medical professionals and assisted. They revived the man with an AED, the defibrillator sort of thing. If I knew what that actually, I don't know, which brand they used. How about that? So anyway, the funny thing is, not confirmed, but after they shocked him one time, I was told that he said, "Don't do that again."
As you do.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So he was revived, did experience a cardiac arrest. We understand he is recovering, and so that's great news for that referee.
Absolutely.
And then our bonus story of the week. This is a story so close to many of us. Fallen officer Jake Reed. They named the 20th Street Bridge after him. This is body cam video from 2019 when he saved a girl from jumping off the bridge. If you can see her there up on the edge of the bridge to the right. And Jake will come out of the picture here to the left as he walks up. He doesn't waste any time.
Wow.
That's really powerful that they've named the bridge after him. It was a very special ceremony the other day. His widow, Bailey, was there. She's on the right on the unveiling, and his brother Sam is there on the left. And with the help of Joplin Police Brian Lewis, they unveiled that sign that will be there for years to come, obviously, always remembering Jake and the sacrifice he made for those of us here in Joplin. And that's about 1200 East 20th Street. It goes over the Kansas City Southern Railroad tracks.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it really
yeah,
is.
I mean, a true
really
hero.
Is. Yeah. That's our big 3 this week.
Thank you, Shannon. Those are wonderful stories.
I'm going to go back and take it easy.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Take a load off, buddy. You did your job. All right, well, we'll
These
be
chairs are great. Great chairs.
Great chairs. We'll be back with more news after this.
We have a beautiful morning shaping up across the 4 states, including our friends down at Seneca, Missouri at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Just a few mid-level clouds out there, some alto cumulus to enjoy. Right now in Pittsburgh, it's 56 degrees and the wind is calm. It feels like 56, of course. Dew point is 53 and traffic moving along pretty nicely there on the highway. Rainfall is not to be found in the immediate area on radar right now. We have to go all the way out to south central Kansas and southwestern parts of the state before we start to see the rain. And then that extends all the way down into the Texas Panhandle. This activity is slowly moving towards the east and will start to impact our area as we get into the overnight and early morning hours tomorrow. Right now we're looking at readings in the lower 50s up to the north and east, like Stockton with 51, 54 in Fort Scott, as well as Lamar and Carthage and Cassville. Then you start getting into the upper 50s in Parsons with 57 and 58 in Sedan and in Yates Center. Dew points, though, they're still low, generally in the 40s, and that's what's allowing all the cool air to stay in place, especially in the overnight hours, as clear skies and light winds and low dew points allow for a lot of radiational cooling, and that's why we're seeing readings in the lower 50s this morning up to the north. As we go through the weekend, though, the dew points are going to be increasing, especially tomorrow with dew points in the 50s, and that's going to help the showers actually reach the surface. And then when we go into Sunday and Monday, the dew points are going to drop back down into the 40s as the drier air moves in, and temperatures will start to respond as a result. Rainfall chances are going to be pretty close to zero today, but then increasing as we go into the late morning and early afternoon hours tomorrow. Here's the storm system we're watching and tracking for you. up across the northern Rockies. It's going to be moving to the south and east and rolling across our area tomorrow, mid-morning through the early afternoon, then rapidly pulling out of here. And then by Sunday and Monday, it'll be all gone with mostly fair skies returning back to our area. Rainfall amounts are expected to be on the light side with this system, generally around 1/10 of an inch, heavier amounts up towards the north. Now let's go over to this morning's Consumer Watch with Caitlin at the news desk.
Thanks, Sam. The Internal Revenue Service is freezing a pandemic-era employer tax benefit. The organization says the move comes amid rising concerns about improper employee retention credit claims. Officials say this is temporary, but will remain in place at least through the end of the year. The agency is investigating nearly $3 billion in possibly fraudulent claims. The IRS says there are growing reports of claims that are ineligible, putting businesses at risk for being scammed. And that this is an effort to protect those who have used the system honestly. For the first time in history, union workers are on strike against all big three automakers. The United Auto Workers Union failed to reach an agreement with Ford, General Motors, and the Stellantis. Now workers are joining the picket lines. Gloria Pazamino reports.
We are the union! We are the union! Strikes underway as the clock ticked past the midnight deadline to close the deal.
I don't know how I'm gonna survive, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be out here striking.
We're gonna be here as long as we can, until we get what we deserve. It's time.
Of the union's 145,000 members, nearly 13,000 are on strike Friday. The United Auto Workers Union announcing the start of targeted action at 3 select plants in Michigan, Missouri, and Ohio.
This strategy will keep the companies guessing. It will give our national negotiators maximum leverage and flexibility in bargaining. And if we need to go all out, we will.
The union is asking for ambitious raises in wages, benefits, and job protections for members. Ford CEO Jim Farley saying Thursday the company can't afford those demands.
40% will put us out of business. We would lose $15 billion. We would have to cut people, close plants. What's the good of that?
They could double our wages and they could not raise the price of vehicles and they would still make billions of dollars.
GM issuing this statement. We will continue to bargain in good faith with the union to reach an agreement as quickly as possible for the benefit of our team members, customers, suppliers, and communities across the U.S. I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
The UAW says it will not negotiate with the automakers on Friday. No word yet on when negotiations might resume. And we'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Fans of Mortal Kombat can test their might in a brand new version of the video game.
That's right, Rick Damigella reports.
The time draws near for the grand martial arts tournament between Earthrealm and the Outworld.
It has begun.
The legendary fighting game franchise gets a fresh start with Mortal Kombat 1.
That's one of the reasons why we're calling it Mortal Kombat 1, because of how many new things we're doing to it.
NetherRealm Studios creative director Ed Boon says in addition to new single-player elements, familiar characters will be doing unfamiliar things.
It consists of a bunch of the Mortal Kombat characters that players know, but they're being told with a completely new story. Our new graphics engine that we've upgraded to, that one in the title really says this is the first of a new kind of series of Mortal Kombat games.
The monks must prepare you for war.
Boon, one of the franchise's creators, still enjoys its popular culture impact.
Every once in a while I'm watching a movie and I'll hear somebody, say, finish him or get over here or something like that. Those reminders are still a thrill.
You Outworlders believe yourselves so superior.
Players may get a thrill from 2 familiar voices in the game, with Megan Fox as the vampire Natara.
It will be great. I'll be a kickboxer, you a street fighter.
And Jean-Claude Van Damme as Johnny Cage.
2 Johnnies, 1 timeline.
Man, this has mega hit written all over it.
Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Famous voices, I guess. Interesting.
Let's just hear about the weather. Come on, we want to know what a weekend forecast is
That's
all
right.
about.
I know a lot of folks are going to be having a lot of outdoor plans for this weekend. We do expect some scattered showers, but first today, partly cloudy skies with highs in the upper 70s to around 80. Then the showers begin to move into our area tomorrow morning, especially up towards the north and west with lows in the 60s. Then late morning, early afternoon, that's when the band of showers rolls through, with temperatures in the 70s, upper 70s out towards the west on Saturday afternoon. And then as we go into Sunday morning, the showers move out of here with lows in the 50s and 60s. And then Sunday afternoon looking great with northwesterly winds, highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s. And then as we go into the next 7 days, we're looking at a dry Sunday with a high of 82, and then a low of 61 on Monday morning, and then 84 on Monday afternoon with partly cloudy skies, then isolated thunderstorms on Tuesday, especially Tuesday night. And then as we go into Wednesday, that's when I think the next bigger chance of showers and thunderstorms will roll through our area. So we'll have a high of 80 with mostly scattered showers and storms. Then that continues into Thursday with a high of 82. And then as we go into Friday, lows in the 50s and highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s, with the rain chances starting to decrease just a little bit as we head towards next weekend. But at least we have scattered showers and storm chances to help break the drought situation a little bit as we go into the extended forecast. And of course, we'll have more updates on that as we get closer, as the models start to hone in exactly on when the best chance of showers and storms are going to be. Stay with us because we are going to be back with more news and sports as well as weather when we come back from the break as the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 continues.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A Jasper County man is behind bars on multiple charges, including assault. Jasper County authorities have charged this man, Joshua Buzzard of Carthage, with assault, kidnapping, and resisting arrest. The incident happened Wednesday afternoon. Jasper County Sheriff's Office responded to a report of a woman who had been assaulted and held against her will. When deputies approached the residence, Buzzard fled the scene in a vehicle. He gave up after a several-mile chase. He was arrested and taken to the Jasper County Detention Center. And 2 class action lawsuits filed in Kansas allege BP and other natural gas suppliers price gouged customers during the historic snap in 2021. The suits, which name a combined 8 companies in the natural gas supply chain, allege defendants violated the Kansas Consumer Protection Act and illegally profited off of the disaster. During the cold snap, Kansas energy regulators directed natural gas utilities to do what was ever needed to ensure continuous gas service. But the customers who filed the suits say the prices charged were unnecessarily and illegally high.
And here's a look at your 10-day forecast. We're going to see partly cloudy skies today with a high of around 81. Then tomorrow, scattered showers in the late morning and early afternoon hours with a high of 77. And then Sunday, drier with a high of 82. And then the warming trend continues into Tuesday with a high of 85 with isolated storms late Tuesday into early Wednesday. And that's when I think the best chance of showers and storms will be on Wednesday. That continues into Friday, and then storm chances start to decrease as we go into next weekend, but they'll still be isolated around with highs in the upper 70s and lower 80s with lows in the 50s. So a nice fall forecast across the area. Can't beat that.
That sounds beautiful. We'll take that. Well, today is the day when Americans can double up on one of their favorite foods.
And that's because today, September 15th, is National Double Cheeseburger Day. While the hamburger sandwich first appeared in the 19th or early 20th century, there's dispute over exactly where that happened.
But regardless of the debate, there's no doubt the burger has become a culinary icon in the U.S. Over the years, burgers have gotten bigger with essentials added on ingredients like cheese and bacon. To celebrate the day, it suggests that you grill out or share pictures of your meal at a favorite burger joint on social media.
Is it okay to have a cheeseburger for breakfast?
Why not? There are no rules when it's Friday.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back, of course, later with more news and weather today at noon.
Yes, have a great morning and a safe and healthy long weekend.